Vehicles and startup.
Go for launch.
Gas closeouts complete. Stage 1 tanks press for flight.
2 minutes, 13 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition, liftoff.
Stage 1 prop is nominal.
Vehicle is pitching downrange.
Power and telemetry nominal.
And there you saw we had a successful liftoff of the Falcon 9. If you were watching closely, you also saw the strong back retract just during that initial part. We're currently throttling down the main engines in order to minimize some of the pressure as we move through supersonic. And coming up next, max Q, which is the point of maximum aerodynamic pressure, where the rocket's pushing hardest against the atmosphere.
Vehicle is supersonic.
And then we just had a call out the vehicle's supersonic. Max Q coming up shortly. That's when the rocket's moving very quickly and hasn't quite gotten out of the atmosphere yet, so it's getting a lot of pressure.
Vehicle has reached maximum dynamic pressure.
And there it's made it through that milestone, which is a major part of every rocket launch. Coming up about 45 seconds from now, we'll have a few events in quick succession. The main engines will cut off, the 2 stages will separate, and the second stage will ignite.
MVAC engine chill.
The call out for MVAC engine chill means that just like the first stage engines, the second stage engine is also being cooled down to be ready for moving all that super cold propellant through it. That main engine cutoff event coming up not too long from now.
MECO.
Stage separation confirmed.
And there you saw it. The main engine's cut off.
MVAC ignition.
The 2 stages separated. And MVAC,
Stage 1 AFTS safe.
burning really bright, has begun. The second stage is now carrying Dragon towards low Earth orbit. Again, we are not following the first stage.
Vehicle is on a nominal trajectory.
We're not recovering this one. In fact, it's the last Block 4 vehicle as we transition to Block 5.
Bermuda acquisition of signal.
We're now at T plus 4 minutes. The Merlin vacuum engine is looking great, and we are on a nominal trajectory towards that initial low Earth orbit. The second stage is going to drop Dragon off in that low Earth orbit, and Dragon will be raising itself over the next 3 days to connect or to rendezvous with the International Space Station. It'll be there for about a month, and then it will also be bringing back the that latching end effector, which is the hand of Canadarm. It'll be bringing back the old one when it returns.
Position at New Hampshire.
You'll also notice that there's a lot more detail that you can see on the Merlin vacuum engine. It's actually flying into daylight right now, which is why some of that detail is more visible. We're at T plus 5.5 minutes. Merlin vacuum engine still performing nominally, headed on the right trajectory to get to low Earth orbit. Has about 3 minutes remaining in this burn. It's an interesting semantic point that the process of connecting Dragon to the International Space Station is called berthing, with an E, because it is brought into the station by Canadarm, while docking refers specifically to two spacecraft that connect without any external assistance. This stems from the old shipping days in which small ships would come into harbor and dock themselves under their own power. But larger ships, which aren't able to navigate as easily in harbors, are met by tugboats and then berthed. So for the International Space Station, that robotic Canadarm is like a tugboat, and so Dragon is also berthed.
Vehicle remains on a nominal trajectory.
We're just coming up on T plus 7 minutes. The vehicle's still on a nominal trajectory towards low Earth orbit. And Merlin vacuum engine still performing great. We've got about 1 minute and 10 seconds left in this second stage burn. We're at T plus 8 minutes.
Stage 2 is in terminal guidance.
The second stage is
Stage
starting
2
to throttle the
AFD is safe.
MVAC-D engine in order to prepare for shutdown. That shutdown event coming up only a few seconds from now.
Eco.
And there you can see the second stage engine has shut down.
Nominal orbit insertion.
Acquisition of signal.
And we've also just gotten confirmation that the orbit that the second stage and Dragon are in is a nominal orbit. So at the moment, both Dragon and the second stage are coasting. And Dragon is shortly going to deploy from the second stage. That's when the second stage is going to release Dragon so that it can carry itself to the International Space Station over the next couple of days. 3 days, to be specific.
Payload deploy confirmed.
This is CC on countdown, Dragon from separation.
And there you see it. Dragon has successfully deployed. We've got a number of important steps still coming up. The solar array is going to deploy next. The solar arrays power Dragon during its rendezvous process with the International Space Station. That process itself consists of several engine burns. Those are height adjustment and co-elliptic burns. And those adjust the orbits to get it closer to the International Space Station and then to finally get reached out to by the Canadarm. So during the last about 30 kilometers or so, where Dragon and ISS are close enough, they'll establish a direct communications link. And then Dragon will slowly approach, pause at several checkpoints along the way to ensure everything is still going as expected. And eventually, in the early hours of Monday morning, Pacific time, Dragon will be close enough for the Canadarm to grab it. Those solar arrays will be deploying just under a minute from now. We're hoping to be able to.
This is Dragon CC on countdown. Dragon's propulsion system has successfully primed and all thrusters report ready for firing.
Deploy coming up just a couple seconds from now.
Dragon is deploying its solar arrays.
And there you can see those solar arrays are slowly unfolding in order to be generating power for Dragon over the next 3 days. It's actually the backside of the solar arrays that you can see at the moment. It's the front sides, of course, which will actually be generating that power. And another view of those solar arrays. Looking great, just coasting there above the Earth in the background.
Lots of signal in New Hampshire.
So at this point, Dragon is coasting on its way to the International Space Station. Its mission isn't over yet. It's going to be spending the next couple days, 3 days again, approaching the International Space Station, arriving on Monday, July 2nd, in the early hours of the morning Pacific time. It's going to spend about 1 month at the space station, and the arrival of Dragon to the space station and the grapple, where Canadarm actually reaches out to grab it, will be streamed live on NASA TV starting at about 5:30 a.m. Eastern time. So again, we had a successful on-time launch of Falcon 9. The 2 stages separated The second stage took Dragon into low Earth orbit, and Dragon is now on its way. So thanks to NASA, the range, and the FAA for supporting us in today's mission, and thanks to you, the viewer, for joining us and watching it. If you'd like to join us here at SpaceX as a career, please check us out at spacex.com/careers. Otherwise, look for further updates on our social media accounts, and we'll see you next time.